From the past will come the future. Archives teach us about the past and help us to tell the story to future generations. We are who we have been becoming. In the early years of the college were very interesting. However, many of the students here today have no real idea about what it was like. Students tend to think that things were always the way they are now. They don't often stop to wonder who Agnes Howard really was, or Carl Doney, or Roy McCuskey, or many others who have played a role in the history of this our college. What was the library like? It was on the top floor of the original seminary building. A closet, really. No, really. What were the expectations or needs of the students at the time? The catalog in 1890 claims, volumes in the library number in the hundreds. They are gifts. This catalog noted that many standards works are yet needed for the library, besides the more recent literature in various departments. Our friends are cordially invited to send gifts of books or money to the library. By 1943, the library was in our current administration building on the second floor, roughly where the education department is today. It was only one room. It was dark and crowded, but at least by that time there was a full-time librarian. The college catalog states, in all, the collection of books totals about 20,000 volumes, several thousand pamphlets, various prints and brochures. The librarian was Ora Douglas Curry. Service was obviously gaining in importance as Mrs. Curry interacted with the students to see what they were needing and to help them find it. By the 1950s, the collections had grown, and the library had expanded into 2 rooms. There was still a good bit of interaction there at the desk, and service was more important than before. The college catalog at the time the new library was completed described it in this way. The Pfeiffer Memorial Library, completed in 1953, houses a collection of more than 43,500 volumes and provides excellent library facilities and services for faculty and students, as well as classroom and laboratory facilities for the Department of Library Science. About 2,000 volumes are added annually. The library subscribes to more than 225 carefully selected periodicals. The aim of the library is to provide all books and periodicals needed by faculty and students for reference, research, and recreational reading. The college accepts and observes the principle that a good collection of books and periodicals and an efficiently administered library service are essential to an adequate educational program. In the program for the dedication ceremony, the library was dedicated to truth, the seeking mind, light, fruitfulness, knowledge of God, and the spiritual life. In our college archives, we found a recording of the dedication ceremony. One fun part of that recording was that you could hear the trains going by, just exactly like today. When the speech was transcribed, we discovered that the speaker had ideas about what the library should do. Should satisfy the inquiring mind, cultivate the developing mind. This building and what it does shall be a guide to the responsible mind, and a bulwark preserving the open mind. That's a pretty good description of what I see happening today as well, and what I hope will always be the case. The circulation desk in the new building was actually upstairs. The shelves were not open for student browsing. Much as in medieval days, you had to request one of the student assistants to go and get an item for you. There were also a lot of rules, as was true for most all libraries at that time. No talking, no food or drink, and for certain the library was not open until midnight. In a very short time, less than 20 years, the building required expansion. This photo shows my office being built. The wraparound addition included offices and classrooms clear around the building. In the catalog in the 1970s, it said, "Perhaps the most important facility is the Pfeiffer Library with a new $1 million wraparound addition, completed in 1972. Carpeted, air-conditioned, and climate-controlled, the library has 105,500 volumes and 620 periodicals. The library has an attractive 18th century facade. Its interior, however, is designed for the future, with planned electronic carrels and wiring for coaxial cable television. Comfortable chairs, open stacks, meeting lounges, microfilm rooms, and study areas, combined with the personalized service offered by the staff, contribute to the library's learning environment. In the fall of 2012, the room in the back on the first floor was beginning to be used for programs. Like the town centers in the olden days, it was a place for people to come and find information and discuss it. But the backdrop was not great, with open walls back to where journals were stored, blocked off by a series of filing cabinets. On the cabinets were stacks of papers, microfilm boxes, dead plants. Not exactly the kind of thing we were proud to show off on the evening news, and the reporters did come to many of these programs. The mural in that room today was created by student artist Spencer Kennard. We commissioned this mural in 2012 and chose Spencer's design from several in Professor Ella Mueller's art course. His design placed the Greek philosophers in the center, scientists and medical leaders in the upper right corner, philosophers and religious leaders in the lower right, artists and musicians on the lower left, and writers on the upper left. This is generally where the books on those topics are located in this library. His tagline is, "Despite everything we have learned, questions linger and remain. Who are we? Where are we going? And what will tomorrow bring?" Watch this time-lapse video of Spencer creating this mural. In Journal 5.1, write about your thoughts. So the library building had changed a lot. We knew this from looking at some yearbooks and some Faroes newspapers that were beginning to be brittle and crumbly. One day, our audio-visual technician brought this old wastebasket to my office. He said that as people retired from the college, they gave him slides they had taken here on campus. Not knowing what to do with them, he just dumped them into this wastebasket. No collecting, no organizing, no preserving, and definitely no sharing. As I looked through these slides, there were ball games, concerts, homecoming courts, parades, pictures of buildings, and more. The lives and experiences of the students and faculty members who had been here were being lost to us. In addition to that, there were just a few shelves containing some financial books, blueprints, pictures, programs, and college catalogs. Well, at least these were collected, or were they? Most of the history of the college was spread all over campus, in drawers and closets of every office in every department. Preservation wasn't much better. There was dust, there were leaks, there were things piled on top of each other in dark corners. All of these things were in serious danger of being destroyed from being neglected, and along with them would go the information about the people and the events of our past. Fortunately for West Virginia Wesleyan College, Brett Miller began working at the library and showed a great interest in this work. He and some student workers gathered up all of the Faroes and organized them. Then a wonderful alumna called to say that she wanted to do something in memory of her husband, who had been the editor of the Faroes when they were at West Virginia Wesleyan College in the 1950s. This allowed us to send all of the newspapers out to be digitized and uploaded to our very limited digital archive. These were now searchable and preserved. We put things up on the Internet Archive, more about that later. We put things up on Pages in Time, our local digital archive. We preserved the remaining items in protective acid-free folders and files. Now we are able to share them. We've come a long way. Our college newspapers tell the story about what students did and what they thought, often in connection with things such as world wars, the Great Depression, etc. Our college yearbooks have photographs of these students, the faculty, the buildings, and even funny poems and cheers. The catalogs tell what was being taught. It has changed a lot more than you thought, and yet some things really haven't. For each of these items, write a summary about what you found there, and give some examples of fun discoveries, and what you think about it, in Journal Entry 5.1. After all, this is participatory culture. Brett has used the things from the archives to research and write the first college history since 1965. The title is Our Home Among the Hills. It was published just last fall in time for the 125th anniversary of the founding of the school. The photo above shows College Avenue, taken between 1890 and 1895, from about where McDonald's is now. The library has copies to check out in case you're interested, or you could purchase one for $40. The archives in this book are especially important now that there is no longer a yearbook being published. We must know who we have been if we ever hope to know who we are or who we want to become. Congratulations! You have now finished this interactive lesson. Without archives, we would have no way of knowing much of what I just told you. For many years, it was not anyone's job to collect, organize, preserve, and share our college history. We are very fortunate to have Brett Miller in this position now. Be sure that you have written your entries in Journal Entry 5.1.